With all the stuff going on in USPSA right now, it is really interesting to follow the conversations online as people learn more about how the board's been operating for the last few years. It has been amazing. And one of the most amazing spectacles has been watching Bruce Gray's implosion online. Now, Bruce is an older gentleman. I wouldn't say that he's super versed in how the internet works, and that's a little bit obvious. So some of this seems kind of mean that I want to talk about, but really, there's a lot of people that think like Bruce. Like when Bruce Gray is talking about the USPSA issues, he's really speaking for a lot of people. He really is, and it's good to go through it. So I'm going to read through an exchange that Bruce had with some random account. I don't even know, some random account on Facebook, because Bruce has been having all sorts of exchanges lately on Facebook, and it's regarding the issues at USPSA. And Bruce has a real hard on for me. So let me go ahead and talk through it. So here's our random account saying, hey, poisoning the well is all he's doing. I don't like Ben or his tactics, so everything he says is false. After the board's actions against Scott and Frank to not see the corruption is willful blindness. So we're picking it up in the middle. We've got an argument between pretty much everyone and Bruce, where Bruce really doesn't like me. He doesn't like the way I've been talking online. He thinks it's very, very bad. Here's what he says. You are projecting. I stake myself out here to make a point about this nasty subculture of malicious trolling and character assassination, which has contributed tremendously to practical shootings issues. I didn't expect Ben would post anything I wrote on the subject recently, in between blocking a bunch of his adherents for attacking me personally. Yeah, and this is why I want to talk about this, the culture of trolling and character assassination, which a lot of people think I'm responsible for. Now, as far as like character assassination, I don't know about full on character assassination, but definitely questioning the people on the board. Hey, why are you doing this? Why didn't you do that? And expecting answers that make sense. Like, I think that's totally fine. And people should be doing that to all of the people on the board, even if it's guys that I like Frank or Ben. Like, yeah, ask them questions and they should provide answers that halfway make sense for the stuff they're doing. And I think that's very healthy. As far as trolling, there's been a lot of shenanigans that I've done for sure online, but a lot of it's just to help bring attention to these issues that we're talking about. So, for example, a few years ago, the Bruce One memo, which was amazing, by the way, outlined a conspiracy, literally outlined a conspiracy to take away voting powers from members, and then the board would choose a managing director that's going to run the organization, and even had in their potential criticisms like, hey, you're taking away our vote. And then it's like, hey, I don't think these people are going to care, blah, blah, blah. The Bruce One memo. You guys remember that. Now, a lot of people, if they possess something like that, they would just post it with like a thesis paper about how bad it is. Like the people that I'm working with, we do things a little differently, a little more, yeah, trolling, yes, but a little bit more spectacle. So we leak out like a paragraph of the Bruce One memo, get a bunch of these guys to deny it. They say, hey, that's not real. These guys are lying. And then you drop the entire memo online. Like that's trolling. That's a trolling tactic. Now, I get it. People don't like that, but we're not doing it for no reason. Like it's definitely effective. Okay. Anyway, let's continue with what Bruce is saying. Indeed, I'm counting upon Ben to post his bullshit and further hammer home my point that the toxic environment he has worked to create will never lead to better working relationships between shooters with different viewpoints, mutual respect, and restored trust in the org as new leaders seek solutions to USPSA's huge problems. Now, predictably, those problems just got far worse as a group within USPSA has overreacted. To destroy an organization, all one needs to do is fracture the membership into factions. Oh, well, there's a couple of core disagreements here. First, the people in USPSA that are protesting, like, hey, we're withholding our money from USPSA. Hey, I'm not paying for my membership anymore. Hey, I'm sending mean emails, whatever. The people that are protesting, I would say, are upset about really legitimate and valid issues. And they don't believe it matters if how they vote. Like they do not believe the board is listening to them and they believe the board is subverting their vote. Now, I am heartened to see this, to see people standing up against the board. I understand there's a little bit of short term disruption here, but over time, this could be a really good thing where finally people in USPSA are like, no, we need this to be run right. No, we need this to be better, that kind of thing. So for me, I look at it as like, this is good. We're finally seeing this energy to actually fix things. Well, Bruce looks at this like what people are doing and says, hey, that's an overreaction. Hey, you're destroying the organization. Like, we just disagree. Okay, Bruce gets a reply. Bruce Gray, you're so clueless. Very few took Ben seriously at first because he is Ben. He likes drama and controversy. That's true. And always in some fight. Also true. But when they went after Scott and Frank, it became obvious Ben was right all along. I knew zero about the board of directors when Ben started bitching, and I took what he said with a huge grain of salt. But I know Scott and voted for Scott. His expulsion plus the contrived way they tried to get rid of Frank, spare me your BS, go shill somewhere else. Like, I think that's a very fair post. It doesn't paint me in like a super great light, but it's at least it's rational. Like, yeah, I'm always like teeing it up online. If I feel like it, like we'll fire it up. A lot of you guys don't like drama. I was raised on daytime TV. I like that shit. I think that's fun. Anyway, um, Bruce Gray replies, please read my position on USPSA and the damage being done. I've repeated my thoughts on the subject like a dozen times on multiple threads since Monday. And this is true. He has done that. Bruce is great online. He's great. Here it is again, hopefully worded more cogently. There are obvious issues with this organization, and the solutions to those issues will be found and implemented so long as the membership has the maturity, generosity of spirit, and wisdom to come together behind good candidates who will fix this mess. Whether Ben's adherents think so or not, experience shows these issues, including sketched out financials and spending priorities, poor communication, and lack of proper accountability, cannot be solved by those like Ben and his followers who have reflexively abused everyone who questions them, much less has the chutzpah to call them out on this destructive BS. Um, yeah, I don't know if people get reflexively abused just for like not liking us or not, especially not liking me. A lot of people don't like me. No one really cares. It's just it's kind of an issues thing. And the reason that like the people pushing for USPSA to be different, the reason that they're just not taking much shit from people at this point is that they've been right. They've been right about this stuff for years. People like Bruce don't want to listen. What I say to people is like, I'm not even worried about persuading people like Bruce. Who cares? Like, he's not persuadable. He's beyond it. He's like, you can persuade his audience, but persuading Bruce, it's a lost cause. So that's why the rhetoric's really changed and it's amped up coming from me and from other people the last couple of years. Like, I am no longer interested in persuading people like Bruce to do anything. We're just going to go around him or go through him or whatever. We're just talking to other people because Bruce isn't persuadable. And there's a lot of people like this in USPSA. Bruce continues, Ben may have brought much to light that we need to see, but at what cost? There is a fundamental question of ethics and accountability from Ben at all, which isn't being asked. Like, no, it was asked. People talk about it all the time. I got kicked out of USPSA over this stuff. I got held accountable. I got a cease and desist from Ted's fucking attorney. I kept going, but there's been other issues that have come my way. There's tons of social consequences for what I'm doing. The idea that I'm not being held accountable for this is crazy to me. Like, this is crazy. All right, now it's time for us howler monkeys to step out of the way and make room for some adults that the members as a whole can vote for. This all assumes this campaign of malicious trolling and character assassination hasn't already fractured and polarized the membership and the USPSA folks past the point of reconciliation. No, now is not the time for the howler monkeys to step out of the way. There are people that have been on these issues, on top of them, paying attention, like really on it for years. Where people like Bruce are like, everything's fine, everything is cool. What are you talking about? So it's like, why would we back off now? Like, why? We've been right so far. Now is the time to go right at the board and make sure that they are toast. Anyway, he says, Bruce continues, if this is the case and USPSA dies, I won't have reason to think it wasn't deliberate. I agree with you, Bruce. If USPSA dies, it is deliberate, and the people running it are the ones killing it. People don't want to see that, but that is true. For what it's worth, the screen doesn't reflect my heart. I want our sport to prosper, USPSA to regain its credibility, and everyone to shoot. I'd like to see nothing more than Ben Steger repudiate his ways, help the factions he has created come back together, and return to competition. I'd back him. He's brilliant. There's so much more. He can do so much more to lead on the ethically proper side of things that I can't help but believe he knows this nasty shit is beneath him. No, the nasty shit is necessary. Like, I tried to talk to these guys on the board nicely for years. It goes nowhere. So basically they're going to blow smoke up your ass and sit there and lie to you, or you can escalate, and that's up to you. I decided to escalate. All right. Now, they pushed me to do that. They would never admit it, but they pushed me to do it. Um, but like, no, there's no reason to stop now. Like things are actually working. All right. And the reply to Bruce. And I think this is a very, very good post. Okay, I'll say this really slowly. The problem isn't Ben. I know you're disingenuous because you're so focused on Ben and tactics instead of the reality of what has transpired. Why are there protests in the first place, Bruce? Because they subverted elections, underhandedly got rid of Scott, tried again with Frank, the ridiculous lie detector test, and now the hit factor thing, without Ben, Barry, or Frank being aware. All you've done is fake clueless concern trolling, trying to police tone and decorum. You're clearly just a shill. And I think that's a very good post. It is. People like Bruce are focused on me and my tactics because they don't have much else they can say. As far as the issues and the facts, I think it's pretty much irrefutable at this point. Like there's serious issues on the board for USPSA. Um, it's been a great last couple weeks as far as I'm concerned. One update: Jim Boone got appointed, and there's an 8-minute board meeting, I think last night or the night before, and Jim Boone got appointed for Area 1. I don't know much about Jim Boone, but I think we're going to be finding out more as time goes on, and we'll stay on top of this stuff. I'll keep watching.